In a quiet corner of the galaxy, life continued as usual. Planets spun around their stars, and civilizations thrived. But deep in the dark space, a terrible event was about to unfold. A supernova, a massive explosion of a dying star, was waking up. Its bright light was hidden from the eyes of many, but scientists on Earth had spotted it. They knew this supernova was different. It was bigger, more powerful, and it was coming straight for them. On Earth, in a large laboratory filled with screens and data, scientists worked tirelessly. Commander Ava Reyes stood at the center of the room, her eyes fixed on a glowing monitor. "We have less than a month," she said, her voice steady but urgent. The room buzzed with worry as her team studied the readings. They watched as the supernova's energy wave moved closer to nearby star systems, threatening countless lives. "Look at the size of that thing!" shouted Dr. Lee, one of the lead scientists. His face was pale as he pointed at the screen. The image showed a swirling mass of light, growing larger by the hour. "If it reaches these planets, it will destroy everything." Ava nodded, knowing the weight of their task. Many alien races were already evacuating their planets. They believed the best way to survive was to run. Ships were launching, and entire civilizations were leaving behind their homes. But the humans were different. They had a stubbornness that pushed them to face challenges head-on, even when others fled in fear. "Do we have a plan?" asked Maria, a young engineer, her voice trembling slightly. She was new to the team, but eager to prove herself. The pressure in the room was palpable as everyone awaited Ava's response. "We need to contain it," Ava said, her determination shining through. "If we can create a shield around the supernova, we can protect the nearby planets. We have the technology to do this. We just need to work together and move fast." Skepticism filled the air. The aliens in the council chambers across the galaxy were already mocking humans for their ambition. They believed humans were foolish, thinking they could contain a supernova. But Ava's team was ready to prove them wrong. Days turned into weeks, and the team worked day and night. They gathered resources, designed blueprints, and pushed the limits of their technology. As they worked, Ava felt a growing bond with her team. Each member brought unique skills, and together they formed a strong unit. One evening, as the sun set and cast a warm glow over the lab, Ava called for a meeting. "I know this plan seems impossible," she said, looking around the room. "But we are humans. We have always faced the impossible and found a way through. We cannot let fear win. We need to believe in ourselves and each other." The team nodded, inspired by her words. They poured their hearts into the project, fueled by the hope of saving billions of lives. The lab became a hive of activity as engineers built the shield's core, while scientists calculated the energy needed to contain the explosion. However, not everyone was on their side. News of the humans' plan spread across the galaxy, and many aliens scoffed at the idea. "Those humans are foolish," whispered a member of the Galactic Council. "They will only bring destruction upon themselves." But Ava and her team were undeterred. They knew the risks, but also understood that doing nothing meant certain death for many. They continued to work, even as their hearts raced with the urgency of their task. As the final days approached, the atmosphere in the lab grew tense. The supernova's energy wave was closing in, and the countdown was on. Ava could feel the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, but she refused to back down. She gathered her team for one last meeting. "No matter what happens, I am proud of all of you. We will face this challenge together. We will show the galaxy what humans can do." With their spirits lifted, the team returned to their work. They had one chance to make history. They were determined to face the supernova, not as individuals, but as one united force. Little did they know that their bravery would change the fate of the galaxy forever. As the supernova grew closer, panic spread throughout the galaxy. Civilizations packed their belongings and fled in fear. The Galactic Council was in chaos, debating what to do next. They could see the bright explosion approaching, but most chose to run. Only a few remained to fight. On Earth, Commander Ava Reyes and her team prepared for their most daring plan yet. In their laboratory, the atmosphere was electric. Ava stood before a large screen displaying the supernova's trajectory. "We can't just watch it destroy everything," she said, her voice firm. "We have to act. We need to create a shield around the supernova. If we can contain its energy, we can protect the nearby planets." The team listened, their faces a mix of excitement and fear. They knew the risks of such a bold plan, but they also understood the stakes. "Ava, do you really think we can do this?" asked Dr. Lee. his brow furrowed with worry. The supernova is too powerful. What if we fail? Ava took a deep breath. If we don't try, we will fail anyway. We have the technology and the will to make this happen. We just need to believe in ourselves. Her determination inspired her team, and they began to brainstorm how to bring the plan to life. They started with a massive energy shield, designed to absorb and redirect the supernova's energy. We can use the power of our sun to fuel it, suggested Maria, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. If we channel enough energy, we can create a strong enough barrier. The team sprang into action. Engineers worked on building the shield's core, while scientists calculated how much energy would be needed. They had to work quickly, knowing they were racing against time. Every hour counted as the supernova drew nearer. As they worked, rumors of the humans' plan spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Council convened, filled with members from different alien races. Many laughed at the idea of humans trying to contain a supernova. "They are just wasting their time," one council member scoffed. Only fools would try to contain such a powerful force. But Ava remained focused. She knew that they had to prove the doubters wrong. "Let them laugh," she said to her team. "We will show them what humans can do when pushed to the edge." With that, their spirits lifted and they worked even harder. Days passed, and the team faced many challenges. The energy shield's design was complicated, and there were moments when they felt they might fail. But every time doubt crept in, Ava reminded them of their purpose. "We are doing this for everyone, our planet and all the planets at risk. We must keep going." Finally, after countless hours of hard work, the shield was ready for testing. The team gathered in the lab, their hearts pounding with excitement. "This is it," Ava said, her voice steady. "We're about to test our plan." They activated the shield, and a bright light filled the room. Energy pulsed through the core, and the team watched in awe. "It's working!" shouted Dr. Lee, his face glowing with excitement. "The energy levels are stable." Ava smiled, but she knew this was only the beginning. The real test lay ahead, as the supernova was only days away. "We still have to prepare for the actual containment," she said. "We need to refine our calculations and make sure everything is perfect." That night, as the team worked late into the evening, a sense of camaraderie filled the room. They shared stories, laughter, and hopes for the future. They knew they were about to face something extraordinary, and they felt a bond that no amount of doubt could break. As the supernova approached, the team pushed through their exhaustion. They were not just fighting for their planet, they were fighting for the survival of countless lives across the galaxy. Ava looked at her team, a spark of determination in her eyes. "Together we will contain the supernova. We will show the galaxy what it means to be human." With newfound strength and unity, they set their sights on the horizon. They were ready to face the challenge ahead, knowing that their fate, and the fate of many, rested in their hands. The days passed quickly, and the supernova grew closer. Ava Reyes and her team worked tirelessly in the lab, pushing their limits to prepare for the biggest challenge of their lives. They could feel the pressure mounting as the countdown clock on the wall ticked down. Each second reminded them that they were running out of time. One morning, as sunlight poured into the lab, Ava gathered her team for an urgent meeting. "We need to focus. The supernova is only days away from its peak. If we don't get this right, everything we've worked for could be lost," she said, her voice serious but encouraging. Dr. Lee looked at her, concern etched on his face. "Ava, the energy levels from the shield are not consistent. We need to stabilize them before we even think about activating it against the supernova." Ava nodded, knowing he was right. "Let's divide into smaller groups. One group can work on stabilizing the energy, while the other refines the shield's design. We need to maximize our efficiency." The team quickly split into groups, each member focusing on their tasks. Maria and Dr. Lee led the group working on the energy stabilization. They ran test after test, their brows furrowed in concentration. Meanwhile, Ava worked with engineers to refine the shield's design, ensuring it could withstand the immense force of the supernova. As they labored, the atmosphere in the lab became increasingly tense. The weight of their mission hung heavy in the air. Just then, a loud alarm rang out, breaking the silence. The screen flashed with a warning. The supernova was on a collision course with their solar system, and time was running out. Ava rushed to the screen, her heart racing. "We need to speed up our efforts," she shouted. "The supernova is only 2 days away. We can't let fear control us. We must believe in our plan." The team nodded, their determination reignited. They pushed through their fatigue, working late into the night. The lab buzzed with energy as they focused on their tasks. Ava moved from one group to another, offering support and encouragement. She could see the fire in their eyes. They were ready to fight against the impossible. As the hours passed, tensions began to rise. During one intense moment, a heated argument broke out between two engineers. "This design will never hold. We're wasting our time," one shouted, frustration boiling over. Ava stepped in, her voice calm but firm. "We are all feeling the pressure, but arguing won't help us. We need to work together. Remember why we're doing this." The team fell silent, reflecting on her words. They were not just fighting for themselves, but for countless lives across the galaxy. As night turned to dawn, the team finally made progress. Maria and Dr. Lee announced they had stabilized the energy levels, and the shield was ready for its first real test. The team erupted in cheers, their spirits lifting. Ava felt a sense of pride wash over her. They had come so far together. However, just as they began preparations for the test, a transmission came in from the Galactic Council. An alien voice filled the lab, dripping with sarcasm. "Humans, you are wasting your time. You cannot contain a supernova. You should have fled like the rest of us." Ava felt her blood boil. "We will not back down," she replied defiantly. "We are going to try, and we will show you what humanity is capable of." Her words echoed in the lab, motivating her team even more. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. The team gathered around the control panel, their hearts racing. Ava took a deep breath and pressed the button to activate the shield. A bright light filled the room as the energy surged through the core. The shield flickered to life, glowing with immense power. "It's working!" Maria shouted, her eyes wide with excitement. But as they monitored the readings, an alarming spike in energy appeared. "Wait, it's too much!" Dr. Lee yelled. The shield began to shake, and alarms blared throughout the lab. "Shut it down!" Ava ordered, her voice steady amidst the chaos. The team scrambled to turn off the shield, but the energy continued to build. In that moment, Ava realized that they needed to find a way to harness the energy, not just contain it. They had to take control before it was too late. As time ticked away, they knew the fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders. The real test was yet to come, and they had to be ready. The atmosphere in the lab was electric as the countdown clock displayed only hours left before the supernova reached its peak. Ava Reyes and her team were racing against time. They had faced many challenges, but now they were at the brink of something monumental. The energy shield had stabilized after their frantic efforts, but doubts lingered in the air. Ava paced back and forth, her mind racing with thoughts. "We need to ensure the shield is strong enough to withstand the full force of the supernova. If we fail, we could lose everything," she said, glancing at her team. They looked tired but determined, their eyes reflecting the urgency of the situation. "Let's run one more simulation," suggested Dr. Lee, his voice steady. "We need to see how the shield will react to the energy surge." The team gathered around the control panel as he inputted the new data. The screen lit up with graphics and numbers, showing the projected impact of the supernova. As they watched, Ava felt a knot of anxiety in her stomach. The simulation displayed massive energy waves crashing against the shield. "It's not enough," she muttered, her heart sinking. "We need to find a way to amplify the shield's power." Maria, her eyes bright with an idea, spoke up. "What if we use the power of the nearby star? We can channel its energy into the shield to give it a boost." Ava's heart raced at the thought. "That could work! If we can align the shield with the star's energy, it might hold strong enough to contain the supernova." The team quickly moved into action, recalibrating their plans to harness the star's power. As they worked, Ava noticed the tension in the room rising. "We're almost there," she encouraged. "Just a few more adjustments and we'll be ready." Each team member focused intensely on their tasks, knowing that every second counted. With time slipping away, they completed the modifications. The shield was now aligned with the star, ready to absorb its energy. "This is it," Ava said, her heart pounding. "Let's prepare for the activation." The team gathered around the control panel, their faces lit by the soft glow of the screens. The countdown clock ticked closer to 0. Ava took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "Everyone, remember why we're doing this. We are fighting for our home and for all the lives that depend on us. Together we can do this." As the final seconds counted down, the room fell silent. Ava's finger hovered over the activation button. 3, 2, 1. She pressed it down with a sense of urgency. The shield sprang to life, a brilliant light illuminating the lab. Energy surged through the core, and the room shook slightly as the shield activated. "It's working!" Maria shouted, her voice filled with excitement. But just as they celebrated, an alarm blared, sending a wave of panic through the team. "Energy levels rising!" Dr. Lee called out, his face pale. "We need to stabilize it now!" The team scrambled to adjust the controls, their hearts racing. Ava felt her mind racing, calculating the possible outcomes. "We need to balance the input from the star! If we don't, the shield could fail." With quick thinking, Maria and Dr. Lee adjusted the energy flow from the star, while Ava monitored the readings. The shield flickered but held strong, glowing brighter than ever. "It's stabilizing!" Ava shouted, relief washing over her. But then, without warning, the monitor flashed red. "Warning! Supernova approaching!" echoed the voice of the lab's AI. The team's hearts sank as they realized how close they were to disaster. The supernova was less than an hour away. "Everyone, we need to get to the containment platform," Ava commanded, her voice cutting through the panic. They rushed to the platform where they would face the supernova directly. The energy shield shimmered around them, a barrier of hope against the impending disaster. As they took their positions, the countdown clock showed only minutes left. Ava looked around at her team, seeing the determination in their eyes. "This is our moment. We've worked too hard to let fear take over. We will contain this supernova!" The team nodded, their resolve strengthening. As the bright light of the supernova filled the sky, they held their breath, ready to face whatever came next. This was it, the moment they had prepared for. Would their bold plan succeed, or would they be overwhelmed by the force of nature? Only time would tell, and they were ready to stand firm against it. The moment had arrived. The supernova loomed large in the sky, a brilliant explosion of light and energy. Ava Reyes and her team stood at the control panel, their hearts pounding with anticipation. They had come so far, and now they faced the greatest challenge of their lives. The fate of their planet, and possibly the galaxy, rested on their shoulders. As the countdown reached its final seconds, the lab filled with a tense silence. The bright light of the supernova flickered ominously, illuminating the faces of the team members. Ava took a deep breath, her voice steady. "We are ready. Trust in the shield and in each other. This is our moment to show what humans can do." The shield flickered to life around them, a radiant barrier powered by the nearby star. The energy surged through the core, crackling with intensity. The team members exchanged glances, their eyes filled with determination. They were ready to fight against the impossible. "Activating shield now!" Ava shouted, pressing the button with a firm hand. A wave of energy pulsed outward, the shield glowing brighter as it absorbed the force of the supernova. For a moment, everything felt still, as if time had paused to witness the battle unfolding. Then the supernova struck. The impact was like nothing they had ever experienced. The lab shook violently, alarms blared, and the air crackled with energy. The shield trembled under the pressure, and Ava's heart raced. "Hold steady. We can do this!" she yelled, trying to keep her team focused. As the energy from the supernova crashed against the shield, Ava could see the readings on the monitor spike. "Energy levels are critical!" Dr. Lee shouted, panic in his voice. "We need to increase the input from the star to stabilize it." Maria quickly adjusted the controls, her fingers flying over the buttons. "I'm increasing the flow. Everyone, hold on!" The shield glowed brighter, absorbing the energy like a sponge. The vibrations grew stronger, and Ava felt a sense of awe mixed with fear. They were fighting a force of nature, and every second felt like an eternity. But amid the chaos, something remarkable happened. As the supernova energy hit the shield, it began to form a new pattern. Instead of being just a wall of light, the shield started to resonate with the supernova's energy, creating a beautiful display of colors. The team watched in wonder as swirling patterns danced around them. "It's working!" Maria exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. "The shield is harmonizing with the supernova!" Ava's heart soared. They were not just containing the explosion, they were transforming it. "Keep adjusting the energy flow. We need to maintain this balance!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the noise. With each adjustment, the shield absorbed more energy, turning the chaotic waves into a stunning light show. The team worked in perfect sync, fueled by adrenaline and hope. They were creating something incredible, a new force that could save them and the galaxy. As the battle raged on, Ava felt a connection with her team. They were more than just colleagues, they were a family united by a common goal. "We can do this!" she shouted, her voice echoing through the chaos. "Together we will make it!" Then, in a moment of clarity, Ava realized that they had done more than just create a shield. They had created a new form of energy, a renewable source that could protect not just Earth, but countless other worlds at risk from cosmic threats. The last of the supernova's energy hit the shield, and the brilliant light enveloped the lab. Ava closed her eyes, feeling the warmth wash over her. When she opened them again, the explosion had transformed into a radiant halo around the shield, creating a safe space for their planet. As the shockwaves dissipated, the team erupted in cheers. They had contained the supernova. Ava felt tears of joy welling up in her eyes. "We did it!" she shouted, embracing her team. "We truly did it." The Galactic Council watched in disbelief as the humans turned the tide. News spread across the galaxy, and they began to realize the power and resilience of humanity. The humans had not only survived, but had also found a way to protect others. With their victory, Ava and her team became symbols of hope across the galaxy. They had shown that even in the face of the greatest challenges, unity, determination, and innovation could triumph. As they looked out at the glowing halo surrounding their planet, Ava felt a sense of peace. They had proven that humans were not just survivors, they were warriors and protectors of the universe. "This is just the beginning," she said, a smile spreading across her face. "Together, we will build a brighter future for everyone."